Rocks and minerals and construction with Google SketchUp. If you don't know, you are able to get the pro version of SketchUp and Google Earth, some other things, if you are eligible for their nonprofits version. So that's how I was able to get the pro version here. This assignment is for my 4th grade students. I see them in the lab once a week for 50 minutes. We do start SketchUp in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, so they're familiar with it. So if you're not familiar with it, you might want to have them use it a little bit before you ask them to jump into this assignment here. But basically the goal is to get the students to design a house and to label the house with the text tool over here and identify what minerals, what rocks were used in the construction process. So quickly I'm going to go ahead and just lay out a house. Again, there is a tutorial that first loads when you start SketchUp that will show you how to build the house here. If you'd like a little more comprehensive guide, I'd be happy to make one for you, but for the most part, you'll probably be able to find another one here on YouTube. So with some of my learners, I challenge them and ask them to get a little more detailed, but with some students, it's just enough to do something like this. I'm not getting accurate with the dimensions and stuff like that. Obviously I'm not lining up all the doors and windows and things, so it depends really on how much the background students have at this project. But here it is, basic house with some windows. I do ask them to go in and use this offset tool, and all these tools are available in the large tool set. So if you just loaded up SketchUp, you're going to get the getting started, that will be checked. So you uncheck that and then go back and check the large tool set. So with the offset tool, just adds a little more detail, makes it look a little more realistic here. So we can go around the whole house and do that. Adding a chimney is also something that I'll challenge some of the students with, depending on how frustrated they are with it. If you have, this is the way I do it. I'm sure there's 100 different ways to do the same thing with SketchUp, but that's sort of how I do it, how I show my students to do it. And again, it is another rock and mineral that you can have them label. So now that we have that set up, I'm going to go over here to the paint bucket. It's going to give me my materials, and I've got translucent pulled up here now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the hit the glass, and maybe I'll make a little window here. So there we have glass, and I can go around and do the whole thing there. Then I'm going to go choose brick maybe and make it a brick house. Go over here to wood and do the trim now. So get that like that. It's kind of hard to see. So I will go over here and click edit and move that color down a little bit so it's a little darker. And also sometimes I'll show you, it happens a lot at this point with the students. We go to put the roofing on and the shingles, and the shingles look pretty big here compared to the rest of the house. So if you go over to edit and just mess with these numbers, I always tell the kids, just put 1 in, see what it looks like. If you don't see anything, it's way too small, so add another 1. And now I got 11. If I add 111, that's obviously too big. Backspace 111, that works. Cool. It took me a while to figure that out. So there it is. There's a basic house. Of course, I can add the brick to the over here to the chimney as well. So got to do that. All right. So there we have it. And now this is where the students are going to go online and pull up have another window open, and you'll see the website that I use in the notes for this. But basically they identify what rocks and minerals are used in that construction material, and then they're going to go draw the line and label it. So they might say glass, made from, and the rock and mineral used. Same thing with the brick. Click and drag. Brick, bricks are made from. And if they didn't add a lot of detail to their model, you can ask them to think about screws and nails and what rocks and minerals are involved in with those. But basically that's the gist of it, and I've asked students to create their own house. Sometimes they stick with that, sometimes they don't. But for the most part, it's a great assignment. Kids really enjoy it, and it's worth checking out. So that is Rocks and Minerals in Construction with Google SketchUp. Thanks for watching.